Very good evening to you. You're live here on News Tonight on GHOne TV. I'm Natalie. Let's take a look at our top stories this evening. Kusaug Traditional Council petitions government for new region out of the Upper East region. Also ahead, OT Minister calls for urgent renewal of Volta Lake safety project following recent increasing accidents. Tonight in the bulletin, we look at some impact of road crashes as 48-year-old father of four seeks help after crash on Kaswa Highway destabilizes him. On the international front, dozens injured in Kenya's crowds gather to mourn former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. We've got the details of these stories and much more news here on News Tonight Tuesday. Well, let's now settle for the details here on News Tonight on GHOne TV, live all across the world on X at GHOne TV. Top on the bulletin this evening, the Kusaug Traditional Council, led by Boko Naba Asigri Abugrago Azoka II, has officially submitted a petition to the Upper East Regional Minister, Donatus Atanga Akamugri, for the creation of a new region for the Kusaug traditional area. On Friday, a delegation representing Boko Naba presented the petition to the minister in his office. The group says the petition aligns with the National Democratic Congress promise in 2024 general election. The Kusaug chiefs say they appealed to President John Dramani Mahama, then the NDC presidential candidate, to consider creating a new region for Kusaug if given the mandate. The delegation of chiefs that sent the petition was led by Alhaji Azonko Mahamudu, chief of Gumbo Traditional Divisional Area. Now, he joins us live on the bulletin now for more on this development. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining us here on News Tonight. Now, first of all, what exactly necessitated this call at this time for a new region? Do you feel that it is particularly crucial? We're working the phone lines to reach him there. That's Alhaji Azonko Mahamudu. He's the delegation of chiefs he led the delegation of chiefs, that is, to send the petition concerning the creation of this new region. Now, we're going to be bringing you some further details on this development, and they've submitted this petition to the Upper East Regional Minister, calling for the creation of a new region for the Kusaug Traditional Council, for the Kusaug traditional area. But we're working the phone lines to reach him, and we'll bring you that interview as per what's necessitated this call and how necessary it is at this time. More on that subsequently right here on News Tonight on GHOne TV. But let's turn to some other stories now. We'll be going to the Oti region shortly, but it looks like we've been rejoined by him. That is Alhaji Azongo Mahamudu. I believe you're hearing me clearly now.
Yes, please.
Great. It's good to have you. Now, I was asking earlier, what exactly necessitated this call? You say that you reached out to then flag bearer of the NDC, now President John Dramani Mahama. Do you really feel like it's crucial, the creation of this new region?
Yeah, the creation of the new region is part of our vision. Our vision is to have a peaceful and a developed region in future where our people will have equal opportunities with the rest of the country.
You feel like for your people to be given equal opportunities with the rest of the country, it's only through the creation of...
Yes, so that we also get our fair share of the national cake.
And this, in your opinion, can only be achieved by the creation of a new region?
Yes, it can be created because it will bring public administration to the doorsteps of our people and enhance decentralization. And effective decentralization promotes development, holistic development.
Now, briefly run us through the historical basis, really, that this petition is being put forward. Aside, you say, being given equal opportunities. Is there some historical basis as per the need for this call for the region? You look at current infrastructure, especially social amenities. A lot of social amenities are lacking in the area. The whole of this big area, you just have one college of education and a number of secondary schools or second cycle institutions, which are not well staffed due to some constraints or challenges. And we feel that if we have a region, it will bring development closer to the people and also enhance self-determination. Now, can you confirm whether this petition being put forward has the backing of the entire Kusaug traditional area? Are there any voices or people that disagree with the call for the new region?
Yeah, I think it has. Because we sampled a number of signatories to it. We have 50 signatories from each of the districts. We have 6 districts, 5 districts, and then 1 municipality. And each of them has 50 signatories across board.
I see. So you say that, therefore, it has total backing in your view. Now, having engaged with the Upper East Regional Minister, what was his response? Did you get any assurance from him?
No, we have we have channels of communication. You have to route the application or the petition through the Regional Coordinating Council to the presidency. And that when we went to the Regional Coordinating Council yesterday to do the presentation of it. So that is the beginning of the process.
How confident are you that this petition is going to be looked at favorably?
Well, it's going to be taken through a number of processes, and we are very sure that we will ever defend it to the letter and make sure that the aspirations of our people to have a region is carried through.
Well, we'll leave it here and we'll engage you subsequently. Thank you for your time this evening. That's Alhaji Azongo Mahamudu joining us on that issue. He led the delegation of chiefs who sent this petition for the creation of a new region. Let's turn to some other stories now on News Tonight, as the OT Regional Minister, GHOne, has called for the urgent renewal of the Volta Lake Transport Safety Project. The minister emphasized the need for a well-regulated and properly resourced inland water transport system, noting that with the Volta Lake covering over 22% of the region, improving safety on the lake is not only a matter of public health and security, but is also critical to the region's socio-economic development.
Following the tragic canoe accident that claimed the lives of 15 people in the Karachi West district of the OT region, the OT Regional Minister, John Kojo-Japong, has called for the urgent renewal of the Volta Lake Transport Safety Project to improve safety and regulation on inland waters. The minister made the appeal during a donation exercise in Karachi West, where a delegation from Ecozoil, a subsidiary of the GHOne group of companies, presented 200 life jackets to school children and residents in the affected communities. The donation was part of a broader effort to enhance water safety in the wake of the October 11 disaster.
This year, we lost people here in OT. Then how many months later, we lost them. Anytime, they open that Babylon, then there's an issue. when it floods here, a lot of accidents happen. If you have the opportunity to handle this one, there should be a comprehensive plan.
The minister also pledged his full support for the revival of the project, commending its previous impact on public education, safety enforcement, and accident prevention along the Volta Lake.
We want to see, for all of us together, sit down and see it so that we can implement it. And for that matter, when you implemented it, you will not be looking at for these things again, because there will be boats by you going around all over the place. There will be boats to send kids from island to school. There will be boats from islands to churches. There will be boats by your company going on funerals, and all this is not for free. You will take money, and you will see that it will help all of us.
Adding her voice, National Coordinator of the Volta Lake Transport Safety Project, Yao Forua, urged the government to renew their partnership to help the initiative continue saving lives. She raised concerns about rising health and safety challenges, including a surge in communicable diseases around the lake communities.
We used to work along the lake, and then for about 2 years now, we have not really been empowered to do so from all the relevant agencies. Nonetheless, the passion to drive safety as a company is paramount. So upon hearing that we've lost some precious lives, we came as a company to sympathize with the affected victims and also donate some life jackets.
The donation exercise, led by officials of Kusaug, was also used to recognize GHOne group of companies for their consistent dedication to community safety and environmental sustainability. The recent accident has once again spotlighted the urgent need for sustainable safety interventions along the Volta Lake, particularly in remote areas where access to emergency response services is limited.
You're watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV. Let's turn to some other top stories this evening. For 48-year-old Alfred Saki, life was stable and hopeful. A devoted father raising 4 children, all active at different levels of education. But one evening in March this year, everything changed in an instant. A road accident at Kaswa left him severely injured and unable to work, pushing him and his family to the brink. Peter Kwao Adato has filed a story of tragedy, resilience, and a father's cry for help.
For Alfred Saki, life was simple but fulfilling. A hard-working father of 4, determined to give his children the education he never had. But on March 25, while returning home from work at Kaswa official town, tragedy struck. A crash shattered his left leg and his dreams along with it.
So it was people who came to my aid and support me. So I spent more than 100,000 plus on the same leg.
Once a dependable father, Alfred now struggles to care for his family.
So as I'm talking to you now, I'm not working. I have 4 children that I'm taking care of them. One is at UPSC, level 200.
The accident didn't just take away his mobility. It took away his ability to provide for his 4 children, from university to basic school.
Since he's not working now, we find it very difficult to help in our education.
Alfred's situation came to the attention of the Accidents Victim Support Foundation, a non-profit providing relief to crash victims and their families.
The accident keep rising, and then victims also who are involved keep going through difficult times. So today we decided that what we've been able to get from some well-wishers who have compassion, giving us these things to be given to them.
The foundation, which has supported victims for over a decade, says the rising number of road crashes calls for stronger corporate and institutional empathy.
Nobody wakes up in the morning and say, I'm going to get involved in an accident. So when it happens, we all have to support so the person will go through it. We are all vulnerable. And so when it happens like that, we show compassion.
Enyonam Matilda Daku, a petty trader, lost her husband, a teacher, to a road accident. She now bears the responsibility to care for their growing 4 children, one of whom is about to enter the senior high school.
Yeah, if it's any accident, is it many insurance be and now be free way.
The National Road Safety Authority has also praised the foundation's efforts and called for broader public support.
I wish to commend the Accident Victims Support Foundation. This will go a long way to relieve the victims of their pain.
For Alfred Saki, help can't come soon enough. He still faces another surgery and the uncertainty of how to care for his children when his rent expires in December.
1st December, I have to go off, and I don't have even CD there. Everything has gone off. I don't have anything on me. So I'm appealing to the government and the institutions to come to my aid. Anybody who can support me so that I can move on in life.
A father's voice of hope and a reminder that one accident can change everything. Peter Kwao Adatos reports for GHOne News.
Well, away from that, let's turn to politics now. As the contest for the MPP flag bearer position intensifies, Education Minister Dr. Yao Osei Edu-Chum, that's a former Education Minister, Dr. Yao Osei Edu-Chum, has taken his campaign to the constituencies, rallying delegates to support him and his bid to pledging to make science, technology, engineering and mathematics at STEM education a national priority if re-elected. The former Education Minister has commenced a 2-day tour of the Central Region. Speaking to delegates at the Winneba Church of Pentecost, he stated that he would advance the promotion of STEM education to drive innovation and economic growth in Ghana.
April 1992, and I'm cooking Africa. I'm a national service of Ghana. In fact, I go to Africa, I'm going to grade, our high school, and the Serenity expand, 750 schools. Let me see schools of America. Now, if you see, as I'm so, yeah, boy, I'm wanting MPP, USA, and California chapter, and I'm your vice chairman. And he was my mom in Sabra and I advised his getting Ghana, sir. It's a new one. Ghana politics, F1. Now, I'm back. President Kusaug of America, Obama is here, near the other party. It's President Kusaug here. I say, do that. I will not talk for us. When my most Obama, Oba, so obey Oba Penny, Oba, yes, Wapa, you can't say one. Nanuna, obey
Well, let's stay on this a while longer and engage with our man on the ground in the Central Region. That's Yao Charles for more on this development. Yao, good evening to you. Now, can you describe the reception that Dr. Edu-Chum has received as he's kickstarted this 2-day tour? How are people responding to his message?
All right, so Natalie, let me welcome our viewers to the Central Region. I think the reception and the welcoming of the former executives and the current executives of the New Patriotic Party in the constituency has been very, overwhelming and very calm in this. So it all happens to the flag bearership race in the New Patriotic Party, whereby the former educational minister, who happens to be the member of parliament for Kusaug constituency, touring the Central Region, meeting the former executives, former MMDCs, and former member of parliament here. But I won't let my speech be long. I have with me here the spokesperson for Dr. Yao Osei Edu-Chum, who happens to be the person of Yao Obogumesa. So good evening and welcome to GHOne TV. We are happy to have you here. What has been the message so far through since morning that we started from Winneba to Mankesim that we currently at Cape Coast here?
It's been electrifying in Cape Coast and in the other 2 places that you were with us and you witnessed what the reception was. And the delegates are describing him as a generational thinker, as a man who thinks ahead of his time, as a man who is looking at up the lives of the party people and ensuring that he's able to empower them to be able to live the tenets of what the NPP is noted for. And he wouldn't want a situation whereby delegates will only be seen as elections machines and only be called upon during primaries or any kind of elections within the party. What Doctor is seeking to put out is a proper welfare scheme that will seek to empower the party people so that they will be able to discharge their duties as the constitution of the party dictates, and ensuring that we all come and rally support to ensure that the prosperity message that he's preaching, the transformation agenda that he wants to bring forth into the country, the empowerment and the hope that shows that Ghana can uplift itself out of poverty is what delegates are embracing, and that is why they are describing him as a generational thinker. All right, so how will we alleviating poverty, transforming the country through education? Someone will ask, how would that be possible? Now, we're looking at empowering the base with the requisite skill, the set skill that resonates well with the 21st century development. And we are looking at how Ghana, we can propel the agenda of Ghana's development towards the fourth industrial revolution agenda. Now, currently, if Ghana misses this opportunity, if the party people do not affirm Dr. Yossi as the flag bearer of the NPP, so he can form government in 2029, 17th January, and Ghana misses this opportunity, I don't know where we can come back to be able to catch up with this in that fourth industrial revolution development that the world is showcasing now. This is the time that we need to make history. And that is what the people in the central region, especially with regards to the constituencies that we visited today, are calling on the rank and file of the party in other regions to look up to Dr. Yossi, vote for him in ensuring that we are able to capture and ensure Ghana accelerates to the development track that ought to miss this opportunity. And Doc's assurance to them is that he will never let them down. Whatever he has articulated with regards to our welfare of the party, ensuring that the party is run systematically, where we don't only see party people as election machines, but people who do affirm quality leadership, people who do elect quality leadership towards the development of the country is what delegates are telling us. All right. And that is what we are witnessing today in Cape Coast. All right. Okay, so thank you very much for your time. We are very grateful. All right, so this Yao Opoku Mensah, who happens to be the spokesperson for Dr. Yao Osei Educhum. So we're currently at Cape Coast Baum Pentecost Church here. So the tour is a 2-day tour, which will be finishing tomorrow. So from tomorrow, we are heading towards Second Itakrade and to Chufro Praso. Yao Charles reporting for GHOne TV, Central Region, Cape Coast.
Yao, thank you so much for the updates. That's a man on the ground in the central region. Certainly more from him as this 2-day flag bear, this campaign tour of the former education minister picks up in the second day. We'll hear more from him. You're watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV. Let's turn to some other stories. Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman is urging Ghanaians to embrace selflessness and shun self-centeredness in their daily lives. Addressing congregants at the closing mass of the Maiden Rosary Congress at Christ the King Parish in Accra, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman drew inspiration from the life of Abraham in the Holy Scriptures, calling on the body of Christ to emulate his unwavering spirit of sacrifice and service. The Vice President also assured the congregation of the completion of the Legacy of Hope Pediatric and Childhood Cancer Hospital, following an appeal by the Metropolitan Archbishop of the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Accra, Most Reverend Kofi.
So I've heard your comments, I've heard your plea, and I want to say that we'll partner with you. We will partner with you because you are not asking for anything for yourself. It should never be about ourselves. And I think that is how we lose our way, when we put ourselves up and forget others. Wherever you are, that is God's blessing. And he put you there for a reason. Just as he blessed Abraham and went on a walk with him. And he used that privilege we be so advised, may we be so guided.
In other news, the Member of Parliament for Okere, Nana Addo Kenneth, has openly declared his support for Dr. Brian Achampong in the upcoming NPP presidential primaries, describing him as the most suitable candidate to unite and reposition the party for victory in 2028. He said this in an interview at Ewukugwa in the Okere constituency, where Dr. Brian Achampong met with NPP delegates.
According to the MP, the NPP's defeat in the 2024 general elections was a painful and miserable one that calls for introspection and change, not only in strategy but also in leadership.
The last elections, we were all supporting His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, which is true. In these elections, there are additional candidates. And in my honest opinion and belief, I think that it is Dr. Brian Achampong who can rally all of us together, looking at what is happening within our party, looking at the level of indiscipline, the level of disintegration. I think that we need somebody who is not too mild in this whole conflict business, who can unite all of us and bring all of us on board to champion one cause. And for me, that is the main reason why we believe that Dr. Brian Achampong is the best candidate.
Spokesperson for Dr. Brian Achampong's campaign, Eric Chum Amwakun, said Dr. Brian Achampong's campaign message resonates with delegates of the NPP. Hence, he is optimistic of victory in January's presidential primary.
Where we have been to, it is very clear that the party people are looking for a new direction. They are inspired by his vision. They are inspired by the momentum that he has brought into this competition. Everywhere we've been in the Eastern region, it's also very clear that the party people are craving and clamoring for power. And that is in line with what Dr. Brian Achampong has been preaching from the word go, that let's revolve around a candidate that would win us election come 2028. Let's eschew the politics of insult and casting aspersions, and let's go out there and preach unity.
NPP's January 31st, 2026 presidential primary is being keenly contested by Kennedy Ohene Ejapong, Dr. Brian Achampong, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, and Kobina Ajay Ejapong.
Well, away from the NPP flag bearership race, private legal practitioner Justice Abdullahi says it is only fair that the embattled former Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokonu, seeks to recover her withheld salary and benefits while also pursuing reinstatement. This comes after the Chief Justice sued the government over unpaid entitlements and filed a motion to stop Justice Bafo Boni from assuming the position. Speaking to GHOne News, Justice Abdullahi noted that based on constitutional provisions, there appears to be no procedural breach in the Chief Justice's removal. He, however, encouraged her to pursue the case, saying it could help expand the frontiers of Ghana's legal system.
It is just right that if she's filing for her reinstatement, automatically she would also have to fight for the benefits that would have accrued to her if she was in office. So these come naturally together, and so that she lose them together because of the means by which she was removed from office. By the constitutional provisions, there hasn't been anything done wrong up to this point. It is a very uphill task. In fact, arguably one of the biggest difficulties she faces to change the tide as things are today. That is not to say that she should lose hope. I would still encourage her, but I would urge her on to pursue these issues to help us expand the frontiers of the law.
In some other news, as part of efforts to give back to society, former Minister of Communications Fatimatu Abubakar is encouraging Muslim girls to step into leadership roles within their chosen fields. Speaking at the launch of the Grow Lead Foundation, a non-governmental organization, she highlighted the many challenges Muslim girls continue to face, but urged them to rise above those barriers and pursue leadership with confidence and determination.
Muslim girls in Ghana continue to face significant challenges, including limited access to education due to poverty, cultural norms, high rates of adolescent pregnancy, child marriage, and incidents of gender-based violence. In a bid to address these issues and empower girls to take on leadership roles, women from various professional backgrounds have launched the Grow Lead Foundation, an initiative aimed at mentoring and grooming girls for greater representation in leadership across disciplines such as politics, sports, and education. Speaking at the launch, former Minister for Communications and founding member of the foundation, Fatumatu Abubakar, emphasized that whilst Muslim girls may be constrained by certain cultural or religious beliefs, they must persevere and rise to leadership roles.
We have some problems that are very pertinent in marginalized communities, and we came together as friends and as a collective to try and solve one of the problems, and it has to do with the fact that there are a lot of young women from underprivileged communities who do not have mentors. We are filling in the gap for communities where they don't have female mentors to give that kind of helping hand in terms of grooming, in terms of capacity building, and also providing scholarships for girls who pursue postgraduate studies in some specific field.
Also addressing the gathering, Minority Leader in Parliament Alexander Penyumaking shared his personal struggles, encouraging the youth, particularly young girls, to remain resilient in their pursuits of success.
The time has come for all of us to stay away from that language of I have Zongo boys. So you have Zongo boys, you are going to bring them to do what? But the time must also come for us to say, I have a Krachifo from Zongo. I have in Rabafo, that you'll be proud that you have invested in them, so that there would be a better inclusive country where equal opportunity is felt and experienced by all.
The launch of the GHOne Foundation brought together a cross-section of society, including women from diverse professions, politicians, educators, and religious leaders, all united in the call for gender equity and empowerment for Muslim girls in Ghana.
Young graduates are being encouraged to turn into agribusiness as a path to sustainable employment. At the grand finale of the Green Tech Innovation Challenge, participants were urged to transform their innovative ideas into practical and profitable ventures.
Following a successful maiden edition, InnoHub has launched Year 2 of the Green Tech Innovation Challenge, a transformative initiative designed to empower agribusiness startups, create sustainable jobs, and boost Ghana's agricultural economy. The program offers financial support and technical assistance to young entrepreneurs with innovative agribusiness ideas.
We at InnoHub, we are the technical experts for this program, where we're going to take them into an incubation program, developing and refining their business models, giving them better access to market, and most importantly, we are linking them to follow-on capital and funding.
During the event, young graduates were encouraged to embrace agribusiness as a viable path to self-employment and national development.
Last year was the first edition. We supported a total of 17 entrepreneurs with 1.3 million to help them structure their business, transition them from ideas to business, and thankfully out of the 10 idea stage businesses last year, 9 of them have become fully fledged businesses. So the difference last year was that we also supported businesses that were at scale up stage and gave them grant funding to help them make more impact.
Some participants, including winners of this year's challenge, shared how the funding and mentorship package will help scale up their business.
One of the problems we are facing as Pilnova Limited company is getting machinery to help with our production or scaling. So one of the very things that would actually use the money for is getting the right machinery for our production. And then also we would want to do a lot of extensive research into the product. This is a pharmaceutical product, so that means that we would have to make sure it's really certified. We've actually started the process of FDA, but we need to do some specific lab testings and then to make sure what we are doing is actually certified and good for the market.
I think the gaps is the education.
if young people are educated on agriculture, most of them will have the interest. And now agriculture is not just the traditional agriculture we know again. Now agriculture is more innovative with tech. We have hydroponics, aquaponics and all that. And so you don't need a lot of energy to start agriculture or start your own farm.
With agriculture remaining the backbone of Ghana's economy, initiatives like the Green Tech Innovation Challenge highlight the growing importance of innovation and youth participation in shaping a more sustainable and technology-driven agribusiness future.
You're watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV. And some other news this evening. The Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit of the Ghana Police Service, DOVVSU, has appointed UK-based Ghanaian gospel songstress Ira Abena as an ambassador for gender-based violence. The move forms part of a renewed nationwide campaign to curb the rising cases of domestic and gender-related abuse in Ghana.
Gender-based violence remains a pressing challenge in Ghana, with thousands of women and children affected each year despite improved reporting systems. Police data indicates that while reported cases have declined since 2020, the toll on victims and families remains devastating. In a bid to increase efforts, the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit of the Ghana Police Service has unveiled an innovative ambassador. At a brief ceremony in Accra, the ambassador Ira Abena was conducted around DOVVSU's one-stop facility, which provides survivors with medical care, legal aid, temporary shelter, and counseling support, among many other services under one roof.
We want to break the silence because, see, when people are silent about crime, it means it goes on. It goes on with impunity. And so breaking the silence means we are reaching out to everyone, the community, survivors, we are reaching out to onlookers, civilians, the public at large.
The Ghana Police Service says beyond its physical scars, gender-based violence shatters lives, cripples families, and drains national productivity.
It's not just about human rights issues. It's not about, as some people will say, oh, it's just a group of people who don't want to be submissive. When we talk about gender-based violence, we are talking about development. We are talking about economic empowerment. We are talking about the development of every country. And Ghana is not an exception.
The Breaking the Silence campaign, under which Ira Abena serves, aims to encourage public conversations about gender-based violence and eliminate the stigma survivors often face when they speak out.
So if somebody is in a domestic violence atmosphere, somebody is living in an abusive area, sometimes it takes hope for the person to come out and ask for help.
As part of the campaign, Ira Abena plans to host the Breaking the Silence concert on November 29, bringing together gospel musicians to promote hope, resilience, and awareness for victims of abuse.
I don't know what I'm missing, and I don't want to know. So if I'm singing hope, this is a way to make it practical. So it is an opportunity to practicalize what I've been singing all this while.
Experts warn that Ghana's fight against poverty and inequality cannot be won without first tackling this silent epidemic. For DOVVSU and its new ambassador, every song, every voice, and every act of kindness counts in the fight to end gender-based violence across Ghana. Peter Kwawa, that was report for GHOne News.
So the road signs are what I want to direct people to.
Still live here on News Tonight on GHOne TV. We've got more news coming up shortly. Please stay with us. You're welcome back to News Tonight. We bring you business news next.
The Business Brief is brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
In business tonight, Ghana's drive to transform its agribusiness sector through value addition, innovation and inclusion is gaining new momentum. The government says it will soon remove import duties on agro-processing machinery to cut costs and make local agribusiness more competitive. The announcement was made by the Deputy Minister of Trade and Agribusiness, Samson Ahi, during a regional stakeholder consultation in Sunyani. Here's reports by Kwesi Mejina.
At the Bono regional capital, Sunyani, stakeholders from across Ghana's agricultural value chain gathered to share ideas on transforming the sector. Under the theme, transforming Ghana's agribusiness through value addition, innovation and inclusion, the meeting forms part of a nationwide consultation to shape Ghana's new national agribusiness policy. The Deputy Minister for Trade and Agribusiness, Samson Ahi, described government's plans to exempt import duties on agro-processing machinery as a move aimed at reducing the high operational costs faced by local agribusinesses.
The implementation of these measures will help the government to promote agro-industrialization and contribute to the country's economic development by creating jobs and stimulating innovation in the machinery manufacturing sector.
The Deputy Minister also highlighted the government's Feed the Industry program designed to guarantee a steady raw material supply to local factories through commercial farming partnerships.
This policy will focus on value chains and high-quality raw material production to support agro-processing industry.
Similar consultations have already been held in the Ashanti region, with more planned for the Northern and Volta regions before the policy's submission to Cabinet. According to Juliana Asante Date, Deputy CEO of Agribusiness, Ghana has both the potential and capacity to transform its agribusiness sector, but warned that poor coordination and infrastructure gaps continue to cause massive post-harvest losses.
A lot of people think that it's a hobby, it's something you do on the side. If you go at it half-heartedly, you will not realize the gains. There are a lot of investments.
She also proposed the creation of a dedicated agribusiness fund, similar to Get Fund and NHS, to finance agribusiness development nationwide.
If we truly believe that agriculture is the engine for transformation, then we must establish an agri-fund. An agri-fund that is dedicated to agribusiness advancement, because agriculture is not cheap.
For the private sector, agribusiness must be seen not just as farming, but as a profitable industrial enterprise that drives jobs and exports.
Until we look at agribusiness as a value chain thing and stop that isolated tunnel silo thinking, financing, processing, not knowing where marketing is going to come on, will still allow us to tickle ourselves and laugh.
With value addition, innovation and inclusion at its heart, Ghana's agribusiness sector may soon become a powerhouse for national transformation.
Well, Ghana's fight against hunger appears to be losing ground as new data from the Ghana Statistical Service shows that more than 13 million Ghanaians were food insecure by the end of 2024. That's a 7.3% increase from the start of the year, raising fresh concerns about access to nutritious food for millions of households. There's more in this report.
According to the Ghana Statistical Service, food insecurity in Ghana rose from 12.4 million people in the first quarter of 2024 to 13.3 million by the end of the year, representing a 7.3% increase. The report shows that the Volta region recorded the highest food insecurity rate at 52%, while the Greater Accra region had the lowest at 29%. Female-headed households were found to be more vulnerable, rising from 40.4% in the first quarter to 44% by the end of the year, compared to 37.1% among male-headed homes. The data also linked food insecurity to poor child health outcomes, with households having underweight children under 5 seeing rates climb from 38% to nearly 45%. In addition, the number of Ghanaians who are both food insecure and multidimensionally poor increased by 400,000, moving from 3.7 million to 41 million during the same period. The Ghana Statistical Service is warning that unless coordinated and data-driven interventions are scaled up, Ghana risks setbacks in achieving Sustainable Development Goal 2, which seeks to end hunger and promote sustainable agriculture.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Executive Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union, GHOne, Dr. Pascal Ajomba Kaba, says Ghana still has a long way to go in achieving food security. Speaking on GH1's newsroom, Dr. Kaba emphasized that aside from the cocoa sector, where systems for traceability and oversight are in place, most other agricultural sectors lack qualified personnel and structured monitoring systems. He attributed this to part of the driving force for food security.
Almost 40% of Ghanaians being food insecure, so that is something which we should be worried about. And it basically goes to tell us that food security in itself is not just about the availability of food, but it's also about access to the food. And a lot needs to be done in our country, Ghana, for us to actually become food secured. For instance, if you take our country, Ghana, our farmers are doing a lot to meet us halfway. However, one of the things I've always been talking about is the fact that in Ghana, apart from cocoa, where we have traceability, all our other sectors, we don't have traceability. So, for instance, your contemporary you are eating, your cabbage you are eating, you don't know what went into producing that cabbage or what went into producing the contemporary, whether it is the chemical they use were good, whether the chemical they use are not good. And the people who are to ensure we know, which are the agric extension agents, we don't have them. The ratio is 1:1,500. Meanwhile, we are supposed to have 1:500. That is the standard that we should have. But we have 1:1,500. Just today, I noticed that clearance has been given for teachers to be employed. But we hardly hear of clearance given for extension agents to be employed. Meanwhile, if we have food and we eat well, we won't even go to hospital. We won't need any, we give clearance for health workers to be employed. But once you eat good food, you won't fall sick.
Well, that's all the business news we've got for you this evening here on News Tonight. Some more local stories before we wrap up.
The Business Brief was brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
You're watching News Tonight here on GH1 TV. Now, a new faith movement is rewriting what many have long believed about God, creation and salvation in the central region of Ghana. Led by a spiritual leader known as Okro Inkroni Nyame Somafo Yawo, the movement rejects the traditional Christian and Islamic doctrines, including the Trinity, claiming to hold the true revelation for humanity's final days. Peter Kwao Adato was in the temple and filed this report for GH1 News.
Deep in the heart of the central region at Ikumfi Etium, worshippers gather not around the cross or crescent, rather under the teachings of the third religion. Here, Okrokroni Nyame Somafo Yawo preaches a belief system rooted in what he calls pure monotheism, rejecting the Trinity and discrediting both the Bible and the Quran.
This is the reason Christians will not attain salvation, because all the knowledge that they have, the piece of knowledge that have been written and they are having, it is not coming from God. The GHOne Jesus Christ taught them that God is one, is a monotheism God. And yet the scripture is talking about Trinity God.
According to him, only a small fraction of the two holy books came directly from God, 7% of the Bible and 5% of the Quran. He argues that the rest were written by men, not divine messengers.
Oxida, Peter, the can we use. Peter would have died, and some of our children. In the German, can tell you, say mistake, you will make.
The Smafo Iyao teaches that the true name and knowledge of God were lost through generations, and that prayer, as the world knows it, is no longer necessary. Instead, he says, believers must seek God through his revealed name and through the font language, which he claims is the first and most powerful tongue God listens to.
You're watching News Tonight. We bring you sports news next. In sports tonight, Germany's national assistant goalball coach Sebastian Müller has praised Ghana's young athletes who took part in the 2025 Goalball Youth Cup in Accra. The experienced tactician, who was speaking in an interview on Star FM this morning, believes the young athletes have great potential and just need a good structure to grow.
Overwhelmed to see the potential and the talent of the young athletes. I think they are ahead if you compare to the counterparts in Europe. And I think if we have maybe a good structure and the children or the athletes, the young athletes have the possibility to develop, Ghana could have a bright future. It's important that they have training on a regular basis, and you have to have competition to compare yourself to other schools or other teams, and that's what an athlete needs, competition against others.
Meanwhile, CEO of Football in Your Life, Beja Nas, has revealed plans to build a specialized pitch for the athletes, as he believes that with the right investment, Ghana can qualify for the Paralympic Games. He also spoke on Star FM this morning.
People here to assist us, and we want to increase it here. So we want to build pitches for the schools. We want to
you want to build a pitch?
Yeah, that's the next step, because the kids has to practice. We have to teach the coaches. And if Ghana qualifies for Paralympic Games, then maybe we go to another African country. But until then, this is our focus, to bring Ghana to the Paralympics and play tournaments, to getting better, to improve their skills. And that's what we started last year. And this year we are really happy that we can also include the girls teams. And hopefully in the future this will grow, that we find more blind schools all over the country, from the north, west, south, east of Ghana, to participate. So it's now the second time, and the idea is showing that blind people or disabled people are athletes and do their sports, and that people see them as athletes, and this is what we see in the days here.
In some more sports news, Zenith Bank earlier this morning held its 20th anniversary walk through the principal streets of Accra. This year's walk, which was attended by staff, customers and clients of the bank, was concluded with an aerobics session at the bank's headquarters. CEO of Zenith Bank Ghana, Henry Onwu Zurigo, in his speech touted the walk as a meaningful and symbolic one.
And deep sense of accomplishment, celebrating Zenith Bank's 20th anniversary. 20 years of impact, a lifestyle of shared growth. We began this journey fueled by vision, innovation, and anchored in service excellence. Today, we have worked to honor the strides we have made. Strides that have transformed the banking landscape in Ghana and elevated the brand, the Zenith Bank, to one of the strengths, innovation, and trust. This year's network is particularly special and meaningful to us. It's a symbolic gesture, representing the journey we've taken together over the past 20 years to build a financial institution that stands tall in Ghana and commands respect across Africa.
That's it for sports news tonight. We bring you into. On the international front, still in Africa, dozens of people have been injured at a memorial event in Kenya's western city of Kisumu as huge crowds gathered to view the body of revered former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. According to Kenya's local Messiah, the injuries occurred on Saturday at Jomo Kenyatta International Stadium, despite authorities deploying military units, police and aerial surveillance to prevent a recurrence of deadly and chaotic incidents that marked earlier memorial proceedings on Thursday and Friday. Kenya Red Cross teams threatened people who fainted from fatigue and distress, evacuating casualties as crowds surged inside the venue. Odinga's body was being transported through Kisumu to his ancestral home in nearby Bondo for burial on Sunday, drawing tens of thousands throughout the region. Or do visit our website, starfm.com.gh, for lots more local and international stories. That's how we wrap up News Tonight this evening. Many thanks to you for making the time. I am Natalie Fort. From I and the entire team, thank you for watching and have a wonderful evening.